Hello and welcome to 5 Good Things, where we focus on uplifting stories and positive development from around the world. I'm Charlie Budd, and this is episode 2. Thank you for joining me. And here are the 5 stories that will warm your heart, tickle your curiosity, and maybe even make you smile out loud. They include The Blossom Master, Pedestrian Paris, The Longest Cake, The Benefits of Forgiveness, and Coding by Sign Language. What will you be doing when you're 97, assuming you'll get to that venerable ripeness? Well, Toomon Sano is looking after cherry trees in his native Japan, just as he has for decades. He's one of Japan's most celebrated sakuramori, the people who look after the world-famous flowering cherry trees. His family have been tending the land where their cherry trees grow since the mid-1600s, and they became commercial landscape gardeners almost 100 years ago. Toomon has travelled not only throughout Japan, but also the world to design and look after collections of cherry trees. He and his family study the blossoms on the trees in their care to minutely work out which trees to graft and to marry together for new stock. And they also grow new trees from seed. Cherry trees have long been revered in Japanese culture. They only blossom for about 5 days or so, but in Japan this is seen as evidence of the impermanence of life, and the soft, glorious fall of flowers used to be an example to samurai warriors on how to fall with grace in battle. The work that Toomon and the other sakuramori do is a wonderful reminder to take care of our trees, cherish them, and to celebrate the wonderful tree keepers whose expertise and love for them is so important for our environment. Now, the people of Paris are voting to pedestrianise more and more of the city. 20 years ago, controversial plans were drawn up to reduce parking spaces and limit cars from particular streets, as well as limiting the freedom of the most polluting vehicles. And the results have been tremendous, with air pollution halved. Before the environmental schemes, most of Paris was way above the recommended EU air pollution levels. Now nearly all of the city is well below those levels, with only the busiest roads showing dangerous levels of pollution. People love the pedestrianised areas, and in early 2025, Parisians voted to pedestrianise a staggering 500 more streets. Admittedly, there are some car-loving detractors, but for most city dwellers, have embraced this move away from the predominance of car culture throughout the city. If Paris can do it, then anywhere can do it, if the will is there. Staying in Paris for good reason, 20 chefs got together to beat an Italian record for the longest strawberry cake ever made. It's 120 metres long. They used 1/3 of a ton of strawberries, 150 kilos of sugar, over 400 kilos of cream, and 4,000 eggs. And I love this. They made it in an ice rink to keep it cool. Some of the chefs were even wearing ice skates to whiz hither and thither, managing the build. Local residents who turned up to view the magnificent creation were given a piece to take away. I'd have been first in line. Holding a grudge is a very normal thing, but learning to forgive can have significant benefits to our mental health. When we perceive that someone has done us a wrong, or when someone objectively has done us wrong, we naturally and justifiably can feel surprised, angry, even furious. And if it's something that really impacts our life, we can hold negative emotions towards that person or organisation for hours, days, weeks, months, even years. We can feel very justified in our rage, our verbal and non-verbal effing and blinding at them. But that rage, that negative tension in our minds and bodies can drag us down. It can take over our lives to some extent. And while we are actually fighting some injustice, that energy can be useful. It can galvanise us to action. But sometimes there is little or no action to be taken. So why do we allow our energies to be consumed by the perpetrators of wrongs done to us? In fact, there's now scientific evidence to show that learning to forgive can have significant benefits to our lives. Forgiveness doesn't mean we're all happy-clappy and huggy-kissy with the wrongdoers, but it does mean we release those spirals of negative thinking. We move on. A great example of this is Nelson Mandela. Over the years of his incarceration, he moved from raging against the racist machine of the South African state towards being a mover of positive change. He forgave those who abused him. He moved on, moved forward. And so can we. Nigeria is leading the way with teaching deaf people how to code. The country has huge wealth, but as with many countries, that wealth is very unequally spread. And this is especially true for disabled people, who have very few opportunities. But in 2022, Dr. Arowolo Ayula founded Deaf in Tech, where sign language was used for technology education, including coding. Employers in Nigeria, as in many places in the world, can often see people with disabilities as a burden or a charity case instead of as a valuable professional. So the courses are aimed at giving people with hearing issues a boost in getting tech jobs. Tech is one of the biggest and fastest growing areas of industry in Nigeria, bringing in about $2 billion worth of investment in 2024 alone. Albert Amos Audu, one of the 1,000 students since trained, said that this didn't just teach me tech skills, it showed me how to be seen. And that's it for episode 2 of 5 Good Things. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed the show, I'd love it if you subscribed and shared it with someone who could use a little good news in their day. I'm Charlie Budd from Chimbadger Media, and I'll be back soon with more stories to make you feel good about the world. Take care and keep looking out for those good things. This has been a SafeHouse Productions podcast.